I came to play the flute because a family friend had a flute that they wanted to sell. And so my parents bought me the flute. Other instruments were out of the price range. And I didn't like the saxophone. So I essentially had a choice of saxophone, continuing piano, which I didn't like, violin, or flute. And so flute ended up being the one. It was an old Artley that was super banged up. I still have it. It's got dents in it and everything. Yeah. And so then I started taking flute lessons from my piano teacher. And then I started band in grade 7 and just continued from there.
Another question. The second question is, what is your practice routine? Do you have a routine for? Yes.
I love talking about practice routines. So I never had any support in building a practice routine. I will say that my dear flute teacher, Deanna McGregor, really tried to get me in on a practice routine. But I was too young at the time. And so over many, like my practice routine in university was a lot different. And I was trying to practice 4 to 6 hours a day. And I had a whole like aftercare routine and like arm soaks and mental practicing, and it was just the whole thing. But now I worked with Katie Flute. I took a few lessons from her. She's super nice. I really like her. And I went to her to help me build a practice routine. And she took all the things that I do and like I like doing, and we built this wonderful practice routine. And I don't always follow it, but because I compose through improvisation is now a huge part of my practice routine. And that includes, because I have tendonitis that comes and goes in certain parts of, like, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I can have no pain, and then one day my wrist is just like not working. So I have a dance warm up, and so I am improvising movement in my studio space, which I hope is blurred because I just have been traveling a lot and it's very messy back there.
Yes, it's blurred, as is mine.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I have a lot of space in my studio to start off just like moving. And it helps me breathe because I have dancing breath, I have flute breath. It helps me to just like breathe and relax my body. And then here's where I often get stuck. And so I will then do my long tones and tone exercises, but I get stuck there because I tend to love it too much. University me would not even believe what I'm saying. Because
that's a good thing to really love and get stuck on long tones.
Yeah, it has become a meditative practice for me. So yeah. I can put on my drone, which started in jazz school, and I can just like live in my sound and just stay there. Like it becomes so meditative that I actually lose track of time.
That's the thing. It's meditation, right? Yeah. That's Shelley Young was a teacher of mine, and she said that flute practice is pseudo meditation.
Yeah, because of the breathing too.
The breathing, totally.
Right? So, like that regulated breath is so important in like other parts of our life. But I find that, and then I can start pulling in, like taking whatever I'm working on, which is often right now my own music, and just like sitting in the sound for quite some time. And then depending on where I'm at, if I'm preparing for a tour, then I just kind of like start focusing on targeted technique for in 5-minute blocks. And so that could be anything from I'm having trouble with like some notes, and then I'll go through all the books and like find what I need to do to focus on strengthening whatever part that is. And I know you notice I didn't say scales; those come at the end. And then I'll work on usually my own music or whatever commission that I'm working on. So then I have like that kind of, if I have time, work on my own music. Now that I'm getting ready to tour, that part is getting longer than the other stuff that I like doing. I exercise, but I also have a 10-minute nonstop improvisation in that opening warm-up section. And so usually it's before my long tone. So I'll put on a backing track, blues, I'll put on drones, or I'll just put on a beat. And there's lots of trap beats, and I find trap beats work really well because it gives you the steadiness to improvise. And I could just play long tones over the trap beat if I wanted to. And so
And
sometimes I'm
accompany you.
feeling
That sounds fun.
ambitious.
Yes.
I'll throw in a 10-minute blues backing track in the key of F, right?
Thank you.
Or
Yes.
I'll put on like a long tone in a key and I'll just start playing. And so it really opens up my brain and my body because then I'm like there's no, I don't have to worry about an improvisation form. I don't have to think about like, I
Technique
need an
and
idea and then I need to
structure.
expand.
Right.
Yeah. So I can just like freely improvise with no expectations for 10 minutes. And Katie really, really wanted me to incorporate the physical movement and this into my practice because then I stopped worrying so much about everything else.
Right.
And so there's no metronome unless it's like a backing beat. There's no tuner. It's just free. And it does really help when I'm then working on pieces or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so thank you,
Brilliant.
Katie, for helping me build my practice routine. Lessons with her are totally worth the money.
Oh.
And she does them on Skype, so it's very like you
You're
set up
in your
a
safe zone anyhow. You're in your own home and
yeah. And she only does lessons through online now. And I think it's because the level of people that are taking lessons with her don't need that kind of feedback of like what you would need in an in-person lesson.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We can do that
Perfect.
ourselves. Yeah. So and
Thank
then
you. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, next question is, do you have a best kind of lesson that you've learned from a mentor or a favorite thing that you've learned from a mentor?
I would, well, I wouldn't say like a mentor. Um, I would say my practice routine is the best thing I've learned from Katie Flute. But I would say like the most important takeaway was building up undoing school trauma, and that I work with a specialist with. And a quote by Hubert Laws. There's an interview in one of those 100 flute interviews or whatever, one of those books.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, he says, people asked him about jazz and classical. And he said, no, I'm a flutist. I'm a musician. There is no genre. And that has shifted my whole life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I like Hubert Laws. Like, I don't know if you listen to a lot of jazz flute and stuff, but like, he's
Not a
good.
lot, no. But it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Those are great lessons. Thank you. Next question. What is your favorite music to play or practice with? Sounds like jazz, but I could be wrong there.
I went to jazz school. I can't say that I have a favorite. Like just for the kind of exercises and warm-ups I do, it could be anything.
Cool.
I also like there's that play along Irish jig guy. I forget his name. But he has like, oh, I also play along to a lot of his videos at the end because I find it really relaxing as well because the score kind of goes by as he plays along. Charles Harrison, and so he has like he plays all the instruments, but the music goes by, has different speeds.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like I really like playing his music and just like relaxing at the end of a session. But I wouldn't say I have a favorite thing to play along with.
It's a challenge to say favorite because there are so many.
Yeah, because I like drones, I like trap beats, I like this guy, Charles Harrison.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there techniques you'd like to share? Any things that you kind of think this is a really good technique and a lot of people need to know that? Or not.
I would say, especially as you get older, I'm finding it a lot easier. The 5-minute method. It does work.
Okay.
I used it in university when I hadn't played flute in 8 years and I went back to get my degree. I used the 5-minute method. It prevents injury. It works even if you don't think it does. You have to trust the process. And you have that 5-minute focus on any section of technique, but you have to do it every day or every other day. It's not something that you do once a week. And so if there's a difficult piece of technique or passage, even if it feels like not going to work, which is how I thought in the beginning.
Thank you. Oh, that's
It
excellent.
takes
Break
time.
that chunk and work
Yeah.
on it five. You can time it, you're saying.
Yeah. And then leave it. This is the hardest thing to do. And I speak from experience. Like, what was I working on in university? What
And
I
then
don't even
leave
know.
it.
Taktakshveli, 5 minute chunks for some of those technical parts. And then
Mhm.
you leave it. And I was at like 60, crochet 60, and I couldn't, like, I didn't want to leave it. I wanted to just bang it out over an hour, but I
Totally.
had to
Yeah.
leave it. And
Mhm.
I saw that there was a significant improvement in 2 weeks, the 5 minute method every day.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's a
So
really
trust the process,
grand,
flutist.
that's a grand tip. Yay.
Right? Because you, like, people tell you and then they don't believe it because they're in their practice mode and they think an hour of spending it on one page is better than 5 minutes, but it really isn't.
No, no. Yeah, just little details, just
Yeah.
working those out. And then the
Yeah.
rest of it takes care of itself because it's,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Trust
sewing thing.
the process.
That's right. That's right. Excellent.
Your
Excellent.
teachers are right.
What type of flute do you play and why do you like it?
I play a Muramatsu DS with a Haynes, the
Head
gold
joint?
silver head joint. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh,
I
nice.
got the DS because it was
Okay.
within my price range. I don't like it as much as I made the mistake of playing. I don't know if you remember, Lauren Esselson was selling her flute a few years ago. I played that flute and I regret ever playing that flute because that was like candy. So now I'm saving up for a new one. But I do love my Muramatsu. I like that it had a really dark sound, and that fit really well with the work that I do. Um, and then I won this award and I was able to upgrade my flute, not the whole flute, but the head joint. And so I drove, I was going to the States for a conference. I went to Flutatious and I had that whole magic moment of the head joint picks you because I was going there for a Brandon head joint. It did not work well with me.
Okay.
And I was blindfolded. Like, she blindfolds you and she lays out a head joint and you play it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was so shocked that this was the head joint that was made me sound so much better.
And you find a difference putting the head joint on the rest of the body. It's not about
Yeah.
the body of the flute, it's about the head joint.
And the flute is about the head joint.
Because I was a little bit wary that that would actually make a difference, but the amount of
Mm.
people that have agreed that the head joint makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference as long as it's
Interesting.
compatible with your flute.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and you might have to use tape or something, but like, I love the hybrid sound that I have now. And once I got that upgrade, I started getting better at my auditions and things like that. I also got my teeth fixed, which also helped me a lot better. But
That does help for sure too. But
yeah,
the head joint, like even if you want, let's say I like that earthy sound, right?
yeah,
But the rest of my flute is silver, and that's
yeah,
bright shimmer sound. But I want to get that um, earthy tone.
yeah,
Then a head joint would make a difference with that.
yeah, 100%. Like, the difference between the original Muramatsu head joint and the Haynes head joint is like night and day, and people can tell the difference. And so sometimes, like, if I'm doing outdoor gigs, I'll play the silverhead just because it's like I see it as the lesser one.
Cool.
but when I mean, it's not lesser, it's still good, but I find that my alloy head joint has a lot of it is a little bit more
Yes.
versatile. But
Right.
ultimately I want to upgrade the entire flute. Like, I would just want to get a new one.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and last question, Jessica. Tell us something about yourself that not many people know.
um I don't even know what people would know.
Open book.
um
It's an open book.
Everybody knows I have a dog. I
I saw
don't,
your
I guess,
dog in the background there. Little
yeah, he's
version of yeah.
wandering around. I don't even, like, I don't know, what do you not know? Oh, I guess I work for the government. I'm a curator of art for a
There you
municipality.
go.
Yeah. That's my day
Fantastic.
job.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Okay, take care.
You too.
Okay, bye for now.
You too.